You're supposed to be vampire? You no look vampire to me, sir.
Seems legit.
You suck.
Nice hair.
Hey guys, now you can follow me on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com/UltraMaximusReviews. Hello YouTube, Ultra Maximus back with 31 horror toys in 31 days! And today we're taking a look at the Vampire from McFarlane Toys for Wetworks. Now this figure came out back in 1995, so this is kind of an older fig. I got this from Southside Toys, which is a couple minutes south of me in Whiteland, Indiana. If you have not seen that store, been to the store, I will add a card on this video to check the store out. Really great place, really great owner, and you can find some really cool stuff there for good prices. So I found this for $5 and I couldn't pass it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging. So here we have the Vampire in the packaging, and I gotta say, I'm really digging it. I like the light blue background, the lightning bolts going on. It says Vampire. It's got McFarlane Toys. It's got removable leg armor. It stands 7 3/4 inches tall. That 3/4 inches is very important, especially if you're a short person like me. And it's got the Wetworks logo down here. It's an ultra action figure, and he comes with some accessories, and he's got real hair, which is kind of neat. And there's really nothing on the sides of the packaging, so just kind of a close-up. Yeah, it's the Vampire. And there he is with all of his hairy goodness. And yeah, it's Wetworks, and he's 7 3/4 inches tall. That's important. Back of the packaging has all the other figures that you could get in the waves. There's stuff for Youngblood, Spawn, lots of stuff for Spawn toys back in the day, and they still make lots of great toys. This is the Ultra Action Figure series, so the Wetworks series. It had Dozer, and Mother One, and Dane, and Grail, and there's the Vampire and the Werewolf. I wish they had the Werewolf. I might try to pick him up next year for 31 horror toys. And then we get all the Youngblood stuff and all these really cool Spawn figures. Very, very neat. And he's got a little cutout and bio to clip and connect a la G.I. Joe. I remember way back in the day. So just kind of a close-up of the back, looking really cool. So here are some of the other figures in the wave. Very neat. And then that werewolf looks really cool. I wouldn't mind getting that. And then here are the Youngblood figures, which are very nice. And then all the Spawn figures. Oh, I remember the Violator. Very cool stuff. Definitely digging those. Really, really digging them. And then here's the little collect and connect thing. So just kind of a close-up. If you want to read the bio, you are more than welcome to. And then there's the artwork there. Very neat. Bottom of the package actually has instructions with the figure. So it says, hey, you can remove his mask. And this is how you take off the leg armor to see mechanical parts underneath. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the packaging. Let's go ahead and get the Vampire out of box and see what we think. So here we have the Vampire out of the packaging, and I gotta say, I love this figure, especially for $5. I mean, this thing is better than a lot of stuff we get today. Just really shows you how cool the McFarlane figures have always been. It's definitely cool. I love the hair. I don't know why, I just really like that. I think that's very, very cool. The sculpt's nice. The paint's nice. Articulation, not as much as what we would see in a Marvel Legends, but that's okay because it still has quite a bit of articulation on it. Now, I think the biggest drawback on the figure would be the weapon itself, how he holds it. He can only kind of hold it the way that it's in his hand right there with his little finger. It just doesn't grip very well because of the way the fingers are built, but this is really kind of a piece you're just going to sit up on a shelf. You're not going to play with it per se, so it's a collector item, really. Kids will just, you know, lose the weapon, I guess. Now, if you don't know anything about Wetworks, it was one of the comics that started Image Comics, so Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, that whole crew, Mark Silvestri, they created their own company, and they had, what was it, Wildcats, Wetworks, there was Pit, there was Spawn, there was all these, the Savage Dragon, all these really cool comic books, and it's still a great comic company today, putting out some of the better things in comics, I think, today. But yeah, so this was the bad guys. So Team 7, I think, is what Wetworks was. They kind of become this symbiote, alien, cybernetic group. I remember them getting hit with some kind of gold fluid, and yeah, it enhanced them. And then they were fighting the Vampire Nation and the Were Nation, so werewolves and vampires. It was a very, very odd comic. I didn't get that many of the books. This is the vampire bad guy, so there was a whole nation of these guys they were fighting. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, as far as articulation on the figure, I'm going to take this out. Let's see here. His head rotates back and forth like that. So that's pretty good. He does he have any, he has no articulation in the waist, which is unfortunate. I wish he had some articulation in the waist. His arms do move up and down like that. There's nothing at the elbow. Again, it could have used some joint at the elbow, and then his wrist twists. His legs kick a little bit, so they move about that much. He's got a joint at the knee, and then the play gimmicks. He's got this little visor thing that can come off. I can get it off of here without ripping his hair out. Like that, and you're probably going to see, if you see these out loose, probably like that. I'm sure that visor thing is going to get lost, and I kind of like it without the visor, to be honest. And then the other gimmick is that these pieces come off of the boots, so I'm just going to take these off real quick, maybe. Very tight. They've been in there for 20 years. Come on. Boonk. And so, yeah, that's what his legs look like without the mechano parts. So kind of cool that they did that. I like the hydraulics. I mean, they got a lot of nice detail. Very, very cool. So yeah, that's basically the articulation for the vampire. So taking a closer look at the figure itself, I love the detail on this guy. He's got a very bat-like look. All the wrinkles in the face, the big long ears, the bones coming up out of his shoulder there. The skin looks nice. The hair, I love how it actually has the fake hair. It's kind of matted and just looks almost werewolf-like to me. This really reminds me of some kind of puppet from an 80s horror movie, and I just really do dig that. I think the teeth are sculpted real nice. The weapon looks okay. I like the silver and the red. It's just kind of generic looking. The figure itself is really, really spot on awesome. So taking a look in the midsection of the figure, again, I love the skin, the long fingernails are cool, the veins. I like his little belt piece there with the skirt, the logo for the Vampire Nation looks nice. He's got some rips on his pants. All the detail just looks really, really good. The hair, and we got the paint apps on the weapon, just a really nice job. The wrinkles back there on the back on his little skirt looks good. They did a good job with the design. I mean, just even back then, McFarlane Toys just had a great presence in the action figure community. And finally, taking a look at the legs on the figure, I went ahead and removed one set of the armor pieces so you can see them both. I think they're equally impressive. I like the paint apps, all the red and the black. I like how the armor kind of sits over the boots themselves. Very, very nice, and all that detail hidden underneath that you can take a look at. The hydraulics and the wires, they just did a remarkable job capturing, the essence of the comic from the 90s, and that just looks really, really neat, and I'm impressed. Here we have the vampire with the Marvel Zombies Select Magneto, and he's a little bit taller than the Select figure, which is pretty neat. He'll probably go up on my monster shelf with the Zombie Magneto here. I really like the two side by side, looking all monstery and just really well detailed. So definitely a fun pickup. So is the vampire from Wetworks in McFarlane Toys something that you want in your comic book collection? Well, this is a very forgettable action figure. Unless you're a kid that grew up in the 90s and was buying the Image comics, you probably have no clue what this is. I still remember seeing these on the shelf at KB Toys. If you find the figure, they're pretty cheap. Like I said, I got this for $5. It was originally marked $7.99. For $5, this is a great figure. Absolutely. In box, $5. This is probably going to be easily found at toy shops, at conventions, things like that. So if you can find it pretty cheap, I do recommend picking him up if you like a good detailed horror action figure. If you collect the old school McFarlane Toys, this is something you would want to get. Otherwise, this might be, like I said, something that's pretty forgettable. But I think it's got great detail. I think it's got pretty good articulation, better than some of the McFarlane figures of today, which are more like statues. This thing stands the test of time. So from the mid-90s to 2017, hell yes, this is an awesome figure. So there he is, the Vampire from Wetworks by McFarlane Toys for 31 horror toys in 31 days.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, thumbs it up. If you hate this video, thumbs it down. To watch more Ultra Maximus, click on the links to the right. Don't forget to subscribe and share, like us on Facebook, and look for more videos in the future.